is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
We begin tonight with a story being shared and seen by thousands of people right here in central Indiana and beyond. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. An Indianapolis man says his dog went missing on Friday, and by Saturday evening, he found his dog dead under very strange circumstances. Now he's turning to RTV6, hoping he can prevent this from happening to anyone else. Cornelius Hocker has the call to action tonight from the southwest side.
I don't know if it was some sort of sick joke.
That's the only conclusion Randy Campbell can come to after finding his dog, Kiba, dead in an alley near his home.
I just can't let it go like it wasn't anything.
Randy tells me the ordeal started Friday night when he realized his companion was missing.
I searched for him from 8 p.m. that night till 2 o'clock in the morning.
He continued looking on Saturday, going to all the open animal shelters thinking he'd find Kiba, but still nothing. He had also posted on his Facebook page about his missing pet, and it was shared by thousands of people. In the post, he had included his contact information, and on Saturday, a man who didn't identify himself called and said the dog they were looking for was in the alley. So Randy's girlfriend went looking for it, but she went to the wrong alley, and the man who called them with the tip was watching.
He sees her and calls her phone back and was like, hey, I think you're in the wrong alley. It's in this one over here, but I went up and looked at him and he's dead.
This is what they found. A dog that was perfectly healthy, now dead, and Randy believes it wasn't an accident.
He had big chunks of meat taken out of the front of his arms. When we took him to the thing to get him cremated, she said that he had been dead for hours.
Now, Randy is sharing his story, seeking justice for Kiba, and wanting to stop this from happening to any other family.
Be aware and keep an eye on them. You know, these people like this, I mean, they target animals like that. And it's
working for you, Cornelius Hocker, RTV6.
Cornelius, thank you. Randy tells us he's been getting some strange and hurtful messages since his dog was found dead. He has filed a police report, and he's hoping the person he thinks is responsible for this terrible act will face some sort of punishment. Developing tonight, homicide detectives are investigating after a woman was shot and killed on the northwest side. Police say a child that was with her was also injured. It all happened around 1:40 this afternoon in the Arbor Village neighborhood near 52nd Street and Georgetown Road. Police were called to the scene on Clarkson Drive after reports that a person was shot. Right now, details being released by police are still limited. We do know the child was taken to a local hospital and is being treated. We are waiting for answers about the extent of the child's injuries, the child's age, and the relationship to the woman who was shot. As soon as we learn these new details, we will bring you those updates on the RTV6 News app. RTV6 is staying on top of a story we brought you yesterday about a young woman who says she and her friends were followed and harassed on 2 different occasions at the Castleton Square Mall. A mom of one of the young ladies reached out to RTV6 and said they did indeed report the incident to mall security, and they thought the mall would report it to police. But as we told you last night, IMPD says they have no reports of anything like this happening. We are going to reach out again to Castleton Square Mall to make sure they are aware of this situation and ask if they have any plans to report it. Now let's get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory.
And thank you, Nicole. 2 things are still true. It is mild and still wet. That wind out of the southeast, we're at 54 degrees. If you haven't been out recently, just realize that this rain marks the beginning of the end of the mild temperatures. Rain will continue while you sleep. Temperatures will be colder in the morning. You'll definitely need a winter coat for the day ahead. Wind gusts will exceed 30 miles per hour. Let me just show you the rain moving from southwest to northeast. As far as additional rain, may last several hours, but I think we're down to maybe half an inch or less in most locations. There's the cooler temperatures about ready to push into western Indiana. There's additional rainfall expected overnight, and as this pulls away, the colder air catches the back edge of this, and see these blue spots, Nicole? That represents some snow showers for tomorrow. More on that coming up.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Well, new tonight at 11, we are getting local reaction from Jewish leaders after an attack at a Hanukkah celebration north of New York City. Police say 5 people were stabbed by an intruder with a machete-type knife at the home of a rabbi Saturday night. The suspect was later arrested in Manhattan. Witnesses tell reporters they were scared but not surprised because it's not the first incident in New York. The governor of New York is calling it a domestic act of terrorism. Tonight, we spoke on FaceTime with David Sklar, the assistant director of the Indianapolis Jewish Community Relations Council, who says attacks on the Jewish community are becoming an epidemic.
I don't know that it's real well known what the level of violence is right now against the Jewish community across the country. And so, I think anything that folks can do to raise that awareness and to, really at the end of the day, we just ask for folks to stand with us. We will continue to confront this hatred and anti-Semitism. And, we just look for folks, whether Jewish or not Jewish, to stand with us. And
Sklar says locally there is a lot of work being done focusing on safety and security, which includes making sure facilities are secure, staff members are up to date on lockdown drills, and are ready to respond when needed. We're learning more tonight about a deadly shooting at a church near Fort Worth, Texas. Police say members of a congregation shot and killed a man who opened fire. ABC's Jim Ryan has the latest.
Tonight, these shocking images out of Texas. Gunfire interrupting a quiet church service. The violence unfolding just minutes before 10 a.m., just as parishioners started receiving communion at the West Freeway Church of Christ near Fort Worth. The church live streaming the service. You can see the shooter sitting in the back of the room wearing a large coat. Watch as he pulls out a gun and aims it at a man nearby. Another man appears to reach for his weapon, but the gunman fires first, shooting him and a second man.
We're going to need help with patient care.
The gunshots sparking panic in the pews. Worshippers seen ducking for cover. One man covering his wife with his own body.
It was a sad thing that he had to come into that congregation and hurt people, and it's a sad thing that we had to hurt him.
In just seconds, several parishioners opened fire, hitting the gunman, who managed to fire one last shot before falling to the ground, dying at the scene. People rushing over and pointing their weapons at the suspect on the ground.
There are 2 people that were shot, and they died at a local hospital.
Several others hurt, one critically. The gunman also shot dead.
Today, evil walked boldly among us. But let me remind you, good people raised up and stopped it before it got worse.
Outside, officers swarming the scene, shutting down streets. Parishioners visibly shaken, hugging each other for comfort. This shooting lasted just seconds, and one man who said he had a relative inside the church at the time said he is thankful for so many good guys with guns. The investigation into a possible motive is still underway. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Marcus, thank you. 12 people are homeless tonight after a fire early this morning on the east side. The fire began just after 5 a.m. in a vacant 2-story house near 10th and Keystone. Flames spread to 2 other buildings that were occupied. 9 people live in one of the buildings, 3 people in the other. None of the 12 people suffered any injuries. IFD says the residents reported seeing squatters inside and outside of the vacant house. The cause of the fire is under investigation. IFD is working with Red Cross to find shelter for the people who lost their homes. A woman is dead, her husband in serious condition after a crash this morning on Interstate 70 near Cloverdale. State police say a Tesla crashed into the back of a fire truck that was responding to an earlier crash. A young married couple from Arizona were in the Tesla. They had to be pulled from the wreckage. 23-year-old Jenna Monet died at the hospital. Her husband, 25-year-old Derek Monet, remains hospitalized tonight. Tomorrow we'll learn who will be the next man or woman to lead the Beech Grove Police Department. The mayor says he will make the announcement at 10 o'clock Monday morning. Earlier this month, we learned Chief Mark Swartz is retiring at the start of the new year after serving 8 years as chief. And he's not the only top cop stepping down. Last month, IMPD Chief Brian Roche announced he will also retire at the start of the new year. Mayor Joe Hogsett appointed Roche chief in January of 2017. And just over 3 weeks ago, Muncie Police Chief Joe Winkle announced he will leave the department on December 30th. Shortly after that, the mayor-elect announced Nathan Sloan will take over as chief on January 1st. IPS officials are encouraging more families to participate in the district's meal services during breaks. Free breakfast and lunch will be offered in more than a dozen sites tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. The program is not just for IPS students. Any child under 18 can get a meal. You can find a full list of meal sites and times on the RTV6 News app. With just days left in 2019, an organization that helps families all across the state by providing life-changing programs needs your help. We reported this month donations to the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign were down this year. At last check, they are $100,000 behind where they were last year at the same time. Part of that is because there was less time to donate with Black Friday following almost a week later this year. And while the Red Kettle campaign is over, the Salvation Army is hopeful that they can still meet their $3 million goal with charitable donations made in the last week of the year. Your money goes to help provide summer camp for low-income kids. It helps adults seeking treatment or even families who need emergency assistance. In order for programs like these to continue, they need donor help.
We don't want people to be denied any service. We want to help as many people as possible, but we need the support of the community during this time to give to us financially. And Salvation Army is not always out year-round all the time saying we need. So when we say as an organization we need your help, we need your help.
And there are several ways to donate. You can visit a Salvation Army location, mail in a check, or even visit the Ways to Give page on the Salvation Army's website. We do have a full list of all the ways you can donate right now on the RTV6 News app. Coming up, he has spent a lifetime facing some tough adversaries. Now a longtime congressman and civil rights icon faces what could be the biggest challenge of his life. New information about a deadly plane crash. We're getting some idea of what happened just before the doomed flight went down. Kevin.
And temperatures right now, they're mild. They're in the 50s, but we've got to look to our west. Colder air will sweep in while you sleep. We'll talk about finding your winter coat, but how long will you really need it?
1,000-mile warranty at Honda of Fishers.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Civil rights icon and Democratic Congressman John Lewis of Georgia has been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His office announced the diagnosis just a short time ago. Lewis was diagnosed following a routine medical visit with subsequent tests reconfirming the diagnosis. He says he will return to Washington in the coming days to begin his treatment plan, which will last several weeks. 79-year-old Lewis said his doctors told him with recent medical advances, he has a fighting chance. This is the aftermath of what started as a quiet Sunday in a Maryland neighborhood. A small plane crashed into a home's carport, killing the lone person aboard the aircraft. The plane broke into many pieces upon impact. No one on the ground was hurt. And now to that deadly plane crash in Lafayette, Louisiana that claimed the lives of 5 people. The NTSB is on the ground investigating. Tonight, what investigators are saying about the moment just after takeoff. ABC's Kaylee Hartung with the story from Lafayette.
The aircraft landed in pretty much a straight line, and the debris field is, I would estimate, about 1/4 of a mile. So it's a very sobering situation.
Oh my God.
Authorities on the ground and on a mission for answers following a deadly plane crash. The twin-engine prop plane bound for Atlanta took off from Lafayette Regional Airport just after 9 a.m. Saturday with an experienced pilot at the helm. It reached an altitude of 900 feet, then banked left before leveling out and hitting power lines just feet away from an apartment building. The plane crashing into this post office parking lot and bursting into flames.
Went straight, and then the plane just blew up. And then that's when that first cop came.
6 people on board, 5 of them killed, 1 surviving, but in serious condition. Among the victims, Gretchen David Vincent and her teenage son Walker. Today was supposed to be his 16th birthday. And New Orleans sports reporter Carly McCord, the daughter-in-law of LSU's offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger. The Tigers coach embraced following their Peach Bowl win against Oklahoma. According to Sports Illustrated, McCord left her husband a message just before takeoff, telling him she loved him.
No one truly understands the mercy and will and love of God. But I know this. I know this community. We work together. We play together. We have fun together. We hurt together, and we will heal together.
Kaylee Hartung, ABC News, Lafayette, Louisiana.
Kaylee, thank you. The U.S. says it has carried out military strikes in Iraq and Syria, targeting a militia blamed for an attack that killed an American contractor. Defense officials say U.S. forces conducted precision defensive strikes against 5 sites of Kataib Hezbollah. The U.S. blames the militia for a rocket barrage Friday that killed a U.S. contractor in northern Iraq. Iraq's Joint Operations Command says American airstrikes killed 4 militia fighters. Parts of North Dakota look a bit like Iceland now. A heavy snowstorm blanketed the area over the weekend. A no travel advisory has been issued for the city of West Fargo due to minimal visibility and impassable roads. Authorities say there's a significant amount of stranded vehicles in West Fargo, creating dangerous situations. Wow, Kevin, look at that.
Blizzard conditions. They've had wind gusts to 50 miles per hour and all that snow. That's the cold side of the storm system that's bringing us all this rain. So we're on the mild side.
Well, we'll take the mild side.
It's Sunday night, but it's not any usual Sunday night. It's the last one of 2019. How about that?
How about that?
Ready to move on? We'll meet you over there. We've had over an inch of rain today. Now, if you play that game and you say, okay, if this were snow, how much would we have had? Between 10 and 15 inches of snow. It's all just in liquid form. But this is having a larger impact because of the fact we melted off 6 to 8 inches of snow. The ground was saturated from that. You add this rain at this time of year, it's not as, it doesn't soak in as well, and so you got a lot more standing water. Cold air will be pouring into the state as you get up and get started tomorrow. Temperatures will likely fall through the day, so take the heavier coat. Definitely will have to have a winter coat as that wind will be strong as well. Temperatures in the teens in the Dakotas where you're getting the strong winds and snow. 50 in Chicago, but look what happens here. The colder air is slipping in to Illinois and will slide into the state overnight. Instead of having temperatures around 60 like we did today during the afternoon, they'll be in the 30s tomorrow afternoon, and wind gusts will be 30 miles per hour, maybe a little stronger in spots. Quite a different day. But this is relatively temporary. As we get to the end of the year here, Tuesday, we'll have temperatures again in the 30s, probably our coldest day over the next week. Temperatures start to bounce back, lower 40s on New Year's Day, and we'll be back close to 50 to round out the work week. As far as the rain, we're not done yet. You see western Indiana, western half of the state with the most widespread rainfall, lifting to the north and east until the actual cold front goes through. Our rain chances will stay high into the early morning hours. If you like to hear the pitter-patter of rain while you're going to sleep, you'll get your wish when we wake up in the morning. I think most of this will be gone. As far as the rainfall, ½ an inch. Some isolated spots will be more than that through the morning hours. Then the colder air catches the remaining moisture, and we start to see some snow showers mix in. We'll see this may overplay it a little bit, but just be mentally prepared to see some snow showers and snow flying tomorrow. Temperatures stay above freezing, so it won't be a problem on the roadways. It'll just be return to winter for sure. Winds will gust, as we mentioned, 30 miles per hour. In some cases, we may have a 40-mile-per-hour gust. It looks like New Year's Eve will be dry. New Year's Day, temperatures in the low 40s, and temperatures warm up from there. So we get to Thursday and Friday, even Saturday, another string of 50-degree days. We've had 8 straight days of 50 degrees or warmer. Tomorrow will after midnight still be at 50, but during the daylight hours tomorrow it'll be in the 30s.
A return to winter as people return to work. Just in time. All right, thank you, Kevin. Well, so many of us start our careers under the heavy burden of debt, but more companies are starting to embrace a new strategy by picking up part of the tab. We'll have that story coming up.
A pussycat on price.
Some companies are helping employees pay off debt, and could this be the future of doing business? Alicia Nieves went to find out how it helps both sides.
My undergrad is in marketing. I also got my master's, just a general MBA as well. I graduated with $110,000 in student debt. It's startling.
31-year-old Eliza Badeau left college paying as much towards student loans each month as rent in Boston.
Making those payments was insane.
But a few years after working at Fidelity Investments, the company announced it was rolling out a new workplace perk: student loan repayment assistance.
Oh my gosh, it was overwhelming in a positive way. They asked if I would help pilot it, and I said absolutely. Why am I not going to do that, right?
No strings attached, Fidelity was now paying nearly 20% of her roughly $1,000 a month student loan bill.
In the beginning, it was something for me where I didn't see a future in buying a home. I didn't see a future in starting a family because I couldn't even fathom, getting married, paying for a wedding, or having children while battling this debt. So now it's something where that is an option for me.
A growing number of companies are offering similar help, in part because these employers are seeing it's actually benefiting them too.
And what we've seen is that it's actually contributing to a reduction in turnover of over 70%.
Asha Shrikantaya heads up the Fidelity Student Loan Debt Program. It's been so successful internally at increasing employee loyalty and productivity that the company has taken it external.
I have an entire sort of benefits business around helping people all across the country with standing up employer-sponsored benefits for student debt.
Fidelity has helped almost 100 other companies roll out some form of student loan assistance program. About 8% of companies across the country are now offering this new benefit. Over the next 5 years, that's expected to grow to 20%. And eventually, student loan repayment assistance could be as common of a workplace perk as 401ks.
I think there will be no choice. Just seeing the wave of the generations coming in burdened by the student debt, saving for retirement is a great benefit, but right up in there is dealing with your current debt.
Tonight, a local group is answering a call to action to help animals in need. On Sundays, Gwen Keller-Lusk, who lives in Fishers, holds Sunday Crafternoon with Gwen. And while this may look like a lot of fun, every person who attends is helping out a good cause. Each month, they decide on a local organization to help, and this month, it's the Humane Society of Hamilton County. Today, they collected everyday items the shelter needs, like dog food, laundry detergent, and even treats. They also collected monetary donations that will now be donated to the Humane Society.
I do this because I saw that there is a need for it, and there's a lot of great local organizations that just need a little help, and this is just my way of giving back.
Part of the reason Gwen chose the Humane Society of Hamilton County this month is because she supports rescues and has adopted her dogs from local rescues, but also because the Hamilton County Humane Society has an urgent need for funding for a new location. Right now, they're at about 80% of their goal for a new shelter at 106th and Hague Road and need help. Construction is expected to start in March. We'll be right back after this break with a final check of your forecast.
Toyota, let's go places.
Local veterans and their family members will be getting some help staying warm this winter thanks to Indy West Harley-Davidson. Employees and customers helped fill up boxes full of coats, hats, and gloves of all sizes that will now be donated to the HVAF of Indiana. The organization focuses on ending homelessness among veterans. Heather McGuire, the marketing manager with Indy West Harley-Davidson, says they wanted to give back this holiday season, and when they found out about the need to help local veterans, they knew it was a perfect fit.
It's not just for clothing. I know that they have a food bank as well. They also help with finding homes. So it's a great local non-for-profit that we wanted to support because myself, along with my coworkers, are also veterans.
After loading up the van full of coats, they took off riding to Checkered Flag Tavern for the coat collection. McGuire says Mars Hill charity riders donated 15 boxes full of coats, and businesses also stepped up to help. And Kevin, sounds like they're going to need those coats pretty soon.
We've had some decent riding days with temperatures in the 50s, but that changes tomorrow. The spin is in Minnesota. That's the center of the storm system. That's where the cold air is. More rain tonight. May mix with a change to some snow showers tomorrow.
All right, Kevin, thank you, and thank you for joining us. Have a great night.